Hi, how are you today? This is JilliBling, and I have a third project, 3 out of 5, to share with you using Dainty Delight bundle. So here's the card, and this props right up into these little flowers, or it is a greeting in here, and that is to bend, and then there's just a little something on the inside too. So like I said, this is 3rd out of 5. The first one was this one, and opens and opens, and there's an embossing folder on here. It's like a eucalyptus bouquet, and then flowers on the inside. And I love this project. And then the last one is this. Celebrate you, very delicate. And today's is this right here. It kind of pops up a little bit, and the Pear Pizzazz little label perfectly fits over this white label. Those are the new dragonflies. So we'll be using Dainty Delight and Hydrangea Haven, mostly for the tiny little words that fit on this tiny little tag. And the dies are, for the tag, Meadow dies. Painted label dies is for the Pear Pizzazz label. And of course, Dainty Delight is for cutting out the flowers. Okay. Let's get started. This one I was kind of going for the watercolor wash look. And this comes from, my mom made this card, or she had this card. So a little ocean scene. And isn't it funny? Back in the day, we never did anything on the inside. I don't know why. We do now, but that's a cute card. I've had it for a long time, just waiting for something. And I was thinking on this one, if I put the white here, it would cover up so much of the pretty paper. Window sheet. Okay, and we will use dragonfly trinkets, which are these adorable little dragonflies. Look at that. And on the back, they kind of have I don't know what you call that, like little streaks through it, so your glue will hold on to it, so you're able to stick it onto a card. So we'll use those in a minute. We will use Baker's Twin Essential, the white, and that's for this little, to hold the tag on, to hold the bouquet together. Okay, we'll use these for the tag, and these little, see down here the grass and the tiny little flowers? That's what will prop up the window sheet. And those are hand cut. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Let's just start from the bottom and work our way up. That's always a good idea. Otherwise, it becomes too confusing. Okay, paper base. This is in Orchid Oasis. Now I have to figure out what colors look good with this designer paper. Oh, the designer paper. The designer paper is free with Celebration, and oh, here's Dainty Delight, page 55. This is the bundle. And Celebration, going through the end of February. The paper is right here on page 6. Dainty Flowers. It's so pretty, and I love the colors. So here they suggest using Blushing Bride, Crushed Curry, Fresh Freesia, Old Olive, Rich Raspberry, and Starry Sky. I guess I just threw in there the Orchid Oasis, but I think it works well. So this is Orchid Oasis, this is Starry Sky, and these just get attached. So we could do that now. Isn't that pretty? The only thing is I'm going to cover up so much of this Starry Sky a little bit, but that's okay. Uh-oh. Why does that always happen? See the red line in there? I am out. But I have refills. If ever you see like little glue globs, I could come up with more creative words, on the inside of your Stampin' Seal or whatever tape adhesive runner you use, get them out of there because that might jam up your progress. Oh no! Okay. Well, I have Stampin' Seal Plus, but that stuff is really sticky. Hold on. Stampin' Seal refill. I have a few of them down there. Okay, we are back in business. Dainty Delight. And you know what? This stamp set really is dainty. The whole bundle is dainty. And it makes me use different products, which I really appreciate, because normally I would color everything with the blends just because I really like the blends. I didn't fold that straight. But because it's so dainty, the blends, the tip is just too big, so you have to use other things. So I've been using a blender pen, and that's something I haven't done in a while, and I like it. I guess it's good to revisit things. Okay, so looking at the sample, in the two corners I'm going to put the little flower, and this time I'm using StazOn. And it's mostly because we're using an aqua painter, or not an aqua painter, a blender pen. Oh, I didn't stamp that really dark. And then dipping it into the ink, and that's more water-based. If you're using an aqua painter, that would be good too. But if you're using the blends, you need to use Memento. Water-based products, you use StazOn. And I love, oh, I did a whoops. I love the way, I'm not sure how I'm going to recover from this. I love the way StazOn smells. To me, it smells like almond. I love that. Okay, this gets folded inward. I guess it could just be a flap. No, I like it standing up. Okay, so little panic going here. Did I push this down hard? Oh, look at that. Maybe if you get it quick, maybe it's like a timing thing. If you get it quick, you're able to pull it right back up. Still really wanting to stick. Oh, look at that. Who knew? Okay, so window sheet is going to go right in the middle. And I feel it wanting to stick. So right in the middle, that looks good. And I'm looking at this amount of paper, Starry Sky, and this amount. They're equal. Stick it down. And then let's put a little more adhesive on it. Oh, I'm so happy that worked out. It's not always the case, especially if I use liquid glue on there. You'd have to just start all over again. Okay, now you can really stick. Happy, happy, happy. Okay. So, next step is to cut this and a white piece that I didn't pull out, the same size, using the Painted Labels die. I have them right here. And the Painted Labels die, it already gives you a little bit of a detail edge, but I like to take it one step further. And on any die that you could see the cutting edges right here and see inward just a little bit further, I'm going to take my bone folder and push it against that and give it just like one extra panel of detail. Get this right back in there. Maybe. There it goes. And I would use this one, but that's not as pointy as my Stampin' Up! One. That one's real pointy. So, let's go around the inside edge. And this that I'm scoring right now is going to be like a raised panel in the center of the die. And any die that has that inside edge, you could do this. Some of the circles do, any die. Like some of them cutting out flowers, you don't want to do that. But any panel, can you see that little extra detail? Here, with and without. Cool, huh? Cool. One more time. So today Tony has the day off, and he went out early when I was in the shower, and he goes, okay, I'm going to go do errands. And I'm like, okay. And he was gone. Fine. He always does that. But when he came back, he goes, I have done so much. And he handed me my favorite coffee drink, which I still have sitting right there. It's too late to be drinking coffee. And then he says, well, I'm going to go out. And I got a trailer full of mulch, like dirt mulch. And he says, and I got 3 more fruit trees. Because we had the man that does the pruning come, and he told him where he should get fruit trees. He goes, you really don't want to get that bare root stuff. He goes, those don't last as long. It's like hit or miss if they're going to work. He says, but if you get them fruit trees from this place or this place or this place, and they're usually a few years old, they're more established. He goes, you'll have much better luck with those. So today he went and he got more fruit trees. And you know, I was teasing him about him saying he wanted to prune the orchard. I'm like, he doesn't have an orchard. He does now. Okay, stays on. Another reason it's good is because it stays on. So I could stamp on the window sheet. If you used any other ink, you wouldn't be able to stamp on something like a window sheet. But one warning is the window sheet, when you stamp on it, make sure to go straight down, straight back up, because it has a tendency to kind of slide. Okay, and since I have this out, see these 2 little bits right here? I'm going to stamp those. And that's what holds up the window sheet, kind of in that propped. It props up the window sheet. Okay, you know what? While I have this out, I should put the words on here. So the tag, I should do the tag too. The tag, there's some tiny little words on here, and these perfectly fit on the tag. And if ever you see something down here, make sure to look at it. This one says images are 75% their normal size. So that looks really tiny there, but in real life it's a bit bigger. It is, see, it's a bit bigger. But I want to use the thank you, just because I love that font. Okay, so let's start with that. Look how cute that is. Just a tiny little delicate, a dainty, thank you. Then on the inside, I would use this, the world is a better place because of you, but that's just too big. That is this big. And that wouldn't fit. So there's another one on here. I appreciate all the little things you do. I'm pretty sure that one will fit. Yep. So another thing is when you're using a polymer stamp, the see-through stamp, the clear stamp, that's polymer, and you're using StazOn, you have to go quickly from stamp pad to paper. And also make sure you ink up the stamp really well. So I'm going to test it first. So tap, 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 tap. I mean, I'm tapping a lot in there. Then quickly go to stamp it. And that works. But if you delay too long, like if you're talking and you're trying to position it, and then you go to stamp it, it's really light at the bottom. And that was surprisingly good. It's just polymer and StazOn. They try to be friends, but I don't know. But if you do it fast, there's no problem. Just like that. Okay, since I have the ink out, I'm going to do one of the flower and two of this dainty little, I'm sure that there's a name for this right here. Okay, so one of the big flower. That's a little light. That's better. And then two of this one. It's kind of like Queen Anne's lace. I don't think it is, because that doesn't start out with those little ball bubbles at the bottom. Somebody I know will tell me. Who is it? Kathy sent me a message the other day, and she told me what I kept on calling them. Okay, on a flower, you know how there's the leaves, like the flower holder? She sent me an email and told me it is S-E-P-A-L, sepal. She told me the name of what that, well, no, of course I can't find it. Oh, right here. S-E-P-A-L. They are the leaves, or the holder. Oh, and the holder is called the receptacle. So, sepal. Sepal. Okay. So, these, we did this. This will cut out this one. Bo, stop it. After he eats, he comes sniffing around the whole house like he was a little piggy. And I don't know why he does that, but it sounds terrible. I mean, like the full-on snort, especially through the kitchen. There's nothing in there. He's still doing it. Okay. And then this one is hand cut. Okay, just a minute. See, I'm hand cutting it. Woohoo! So that one's hand cut. This one, yeah, I probably should have done it again because I cut off part of the T, but it's still really cute. Then these are partially, this one is done. I'll color this one and I'll color the flowers. Then we have to do the inside too. Okay, so we are going to use a blender pen. So I'm using two different colors of green on purpose. When I look at this, I see olive, pear, but because the colors are really cool, I'm also using garden green. And of course, this is using, I think, Starry Sky. Well, these are the colors that I have set aside. Saison, Garden Green, Pear Pizzazz, Mango, Melody, Orchid Oasis, Melon Mambo, Rich Razzleberry, and Starry Sky. Orchid Oasis and Starry Sky, when coloring an area that small, I couldn't tell the difference from one to the other. So I'm just going to pick Starry Sky. And just a little touch here, and I'll hold this up close here in a minute. So right when you touch the ink onto the pad, it's really dark, and I want these a little bit softer. The more you use your blender pen, the softer the color gets. And I'm purposely not filling it in 100%. I want to leave a little bit at the top or at the bottom white, so it looks like a highlight. And then I'm going to go back over it a second time. And I'm hoping to get at least 2 tones. And I know it's all the same color. See how it's kind of lightening up right now? That's what I was hoping for. Okay, it's really light now. So now that the ink is almost faded out, I'm going to go back down to the bottom part and fill it in a little bit more. I'm liking how those are looking, because it looks like they all have a little bit of a highlight on them. So just a touch into the ink pad, and I'm going to go to the lower part of these little flowers. Just add a little bit of color so it looks like there's a little bit of depth. And I'm fine if there's some white on the flowers, because that looks like a highlight. Okay, so I'm going to clean this up. So when you have blender pens, they come in a set of 3. And if you can, don't do this on the paper to the blender pen, because that ruins the tip. But if you just kind of lay it flat, you'll get the color out and you'll preserve the tip. The tip is nice because it colors things really delicate. Okay, so we're done with that one. So now, this flower, I'm going to do it in Melon Mambo first, and then Rich Razzleberry. And if you're like, you know what, that's just too much, that's fine just to do it in one color. So I'll pick up some color, get off a lot of it, and then just start coloring. And at this point, because the color is so heavy on here, I'm just going to do the bottom part of it. And now when I'm looking at that, it looks like it's really softening up. See how soft that is compared to the first one? So I'm just going to fill in the rest of the flower. My goal is to get 2 different shades of one color in there. Okay, now it's getting really soft, like too soft. So start at the middle of the flower. It's like, yeah, that's really dark. Start at the lower bit of the flower. And it's watercolor, so I'm not going for perfection. And when I take pictures and I put them on my blog, you'll be like, yeah, that isn't perfect. But it kind of goes with the paper. Okay, now that it's softening up, I'll do the outside edge of this big flower. I like using the blender pens, the blends, because you don't see any streaking, any lines. But I do like how this looks. I like the softness of it. The watercolor. I'm pretending like I'm an artist. I admire artists. Okay, so when you're looking at this one in particular, see how there's a softer color by the outside and the darker color toward the inside? That's my goal. Oh, this one is pretty too. Oh, we still have to do the inside of the card, the same flower. Okay, so that's good. I'm going to get the color out. And now you're like, well, what's Rich Razzleberry for? That is to make the center of the petal, center of the flower, even darker. So when you look at the two of them, this one looks a little bit bright, and this one is a little bit deeper. And that's just because these are a whole bunch of cool colors, and I want the flower to really pop. When you look at the card, I want you to see the flower. So you could leave it like that. But just a hint of additional pigment on each of the flowers. See how that looks so rich? And I don't know that everyone will even notice that or appreciate it. I hope they just see the card and they're like, oh, that's pretty. No idea why or how. Only we know. Okay, so that one is done. Oh, the flower centers. So before you put the lid on, clear out your brush tip. So the flower center is Mango Melody. Is it Melody or Medley? Melody. I had a niece and her name was Melody. Melody. You know, a song. There's just two little bits. Okay. Let's see what else needs to be done. I think it's time to wrap. Oh, and you know, look at that. Cutest double bow. And I kept wanting to put it on here, but it was like, oh, that's just too much. I kind of like you're holding a bouquet wrapped up. I'll probably end up doing that again. I really like how that looks. White baker's twine. I could use so much of this. Okay, so I'm going to do it in just a knot. So I'm going to wrap it around. Is that 3 or 4 times? And then just tie it in a knot. You know, I'm inclined to put rhinestones and bling on everything, and it's hard to hold back. I'm like, I'll put a little rhinestone in the center of each flower. And it's like, no, this is kind of like a meadow flowers. Fresh spring flowers. Everything doesn't have to have bling. Okay. So this is going to go here on dimensionals, and then I'll put a little glue at the bottom to hold it a little bit flatter. And mini dimensionals are the way to go because it's so dainty. This is a real fun bundle. Dainty. Okay. So that goes right there, and I'm leaving a little bit of room for the tag to shine. Here's the tag, and I could wind it through there, but I'm just going to tuck it underneath and pretend like it's connected. I kind of want this string to fill up that void. If I tie it into one more knot, that will work. That will make it point the other direction. So one more knot it is. There it goes. Okay, so liquid glue under the stems. And liquid glue at the top. And then a dimensional at the bottom. So that will make it look like the tag is attached to the string and underneath the stem of flowers. Thank you. I love that font. Just like that. Isn't that sweet? Okay, so these are going to go on the inside, 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 inside. I think we need to work on the inside. Let's get this attached. So, because there's a fold right here, I'm going to attach this right in the middle, but only the lower half. So, glue right here. Oh, this is a good time to... Have you ever seen that show where they write intentions? What should I write? Art. Because this is artsy. Art. That looks like ant. Art. How about love? It's almost Valentine's Day. And stampin'. I know. No one will ever see that. Do you ever do that? Write little messages no one will ever see. Okay, so this goes right in the middle of the window sheet. And I'm looking at how much is over here, how much is there. How much is at the bottom of the window sheet, the top of the window sheet. Hey, you know when we glue things together, we're just sitting there holding it? This time we could see. What does it really do? I'm thinking the glue is just absorbing into the paper. Okay, dry. Oh, you know what? Next is to put the white piece and have it directly underneath the green. So, no intentions. No one will ever see it. And I'm using more glue than I normally would because I might need to shift it around. Okay, so and I know I'll probably have to shift it after I get it on here. Okay, let's see how it did. This, oh yeah, that looks really crooked. I should just put it on here and hope that it's straight. And I see a little bit over there. There. That's it. And then, okay. So for the inside, I'm going to put this on dimensionals, right about there. And on this one, have it on dimensionals, and then I have these off to the side. But this time I think I want these grouping of plants to be coming out from here, maybe going like at an angle. So if this one, maybe a little lower, like that, and underneath like that. Okay, that's good. So right below the bottom and right underneath the words. Right below the bottom and under the words. These are kind of blown in the wind. This one is straight. Okay, same here. Okay. And then these little grass flowers, that could be right over the top, but on dimensionals. I want them to be on dimensionals so it holds up that the window sheet panel. So this is time where you need to use lots of dimensionals. I'll put 4 of them on this little thing. Well, that's cute. And I'm not going to cover up the bottom because the bottom adds structure to the card, to the words. Also, it would pop out down here. Okay. Oh, and on this one, see how I colored in the flowers just a little bit? I'll do that right here. So how about garden green? Well, this is one I didn't stamp that good. Just make the flowers real dark. And then a little swish of green through there to fill it in. Okay, and then I'll probably just do the melon mumbo, because these flowers down here are really tiny. I see all kinds of green leaves I forgot to do. Right there. Or maybe I just didn't do them dark enough. Those are forgot. Okay. So the outside, other than the little dragonfly, the outside is done. Let's get that dragonfly on there. Keeps popping up. Get a good crease in that. That's better. Dragonfly. How about this one? I did off on the right side. How about doing it right here? So, it's like an airplane shape. Dragonfly trinkets. Okay, let that dry. So for the inside, the little tag says thank you. I'm going to do the appreciate. Was I just testing that? I don't think I put it on anything. Stays on. Test it again. Not good. Better. Good. Then the flower. Ooh, good thing I tested that one. That's better. Good. And if ever your stamping and stuff doesn't come out good, make sure you're using Stampin' Up! White paper. It makes all the difference. So here's these little grass with the flowers. Okay, so time to watercolor. That looks good just like that. So let's start out with the melon. And here I'll hold it up close. It's nice when there's a little border on it. I'm doing that just so I can hold it up close. So take a little ink off, then start at the beginning of the bud, and then I'll go back a second time once there's less ink on the blender pen. Like about now. See how there's the two colors of Melon Mumbo? Oops, I went outside the line. It's getting softer. And then I'll go back with the rich raspberry to put the dark in it. Okay, I think the Melon Mumbo is done. I don't know that these little ones need the rich raspberry. They're too little. They're just Melon Mumbo. Okay. And now the garden green. Oh, I should do the flower center with Mango Melody. There's just two of them. The little flowers, I don't know that it would be seen. I'll try. Yeah, it just kind of blends in. Maybe if you had a magnifying glass, you could see it. Okay, now for the green leaves with garden green. sepal, S-E-P-A-L. Oh, that's a bud. That's supposed to be pink. How'd I miss that? Once it gets really light, then to fill it in, because it's really light, just a swoosh of color. And then, let me show you one last little, oh, that one flower. Gotta get that flower. Oh, that's a dark flower. Okay. So on the sample, which is this one, see how there's a little bit of Orchid Oasis back there for a background? If you want, you could do that. And that's done just like how the green little bit of swoosh for the grasses. So here I have Orchid Oasis or Starry Sky. Because this one's lighter and I'm aiming for really light, I'm going with this one. So make sure there's no color on there to get a lot of that color off. That's optional, only if you want to do it. I don't know if it distracts or if it adds to it, but it's keeping with the watercolor theme. Okay, that's good. Okay, so just put the inside in, and that's it. This was just temporarily held down, so let's get this really stuck. Jennifer, I know you're watching. You can do ink or adhesive with one hand. She always comments on that. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So she likes it when I just spin it around. So right here, everyone could do that. Before you let it go, just give it a spin. And there's a string of adhesive connecting my Stampin' Seal to the paper. And I don't think you could do that with all adhesive, just the really good ones. Not sure what that is. Oh, that's glue. That's adhesive. Okay, it's gone. So, here's today's project. Little easel card. Greeting number 1. Number 2. Number 1. There's number 2. I put the same words in there. Okay, before you know it, I'm going to fix it somehow. You know how I said I knew that I already stamped that. Now I know why. Okay, I'll fix it. So, check my blog, which is JilliBling.com, and it will be all fixed. Have a great day.